In Southern California's ganglands, there's a law stronger than any written in Sacramento. A law carved into concrete yards and soaked in prison blood. The law of the number 13, Sureno, a single digit that ties tens of thousands of men to one of the most feared organizations in America, the Mexican Mafia, La M. On paper, it means unity, a southern army, a brotherhood. But on the streets, that brotherhood cracks, it splinters. It turns brother against brother, and that's where this story lives. This isn't about the biggest gang, not the most famous either. It's about a crew that shows what Sureno life really is. Violent, contradictory, messy, and deeply human. They've fought wars with rivals. They've fought wars with their own supposed allies. They've broken rules set by prison shot callers. They've taken their violence far beyond Los Angeles. This is the story of South Los 13. It begins in the 1970s in the packed, restless neighborhoods of South Central Los Angeles. Back then, gangs were growing out of something simple: protection. Identity, a sense of we belong to something. South Los was one of many that came alive in those streets. But when the 1980s came and crack cocaine lit the city on fire, the game changed. Protection turned to predation. Territory became everything. And the name South Los spread across the neighborhood, sometimes as Barrio South, and eventually, after they pledged their mandatory allegiance to La M, as South Los 13. That 13 wasn't optional. Inside prison, if you weren't carrying it, you were prey. So the pledge was survival, but survival never guaranteed peace. South Los found itself in some of the most violent rivalries in Los Angeles. Few rivalries burned hotter than the one with the Hoover criminals. That war has lasted decades, fueled by territory, pride, and blood. On May 13, 2018, Mother's Day, two 15-year-old boys were walking home from a party. Maya Jackson and Lamar Upchurch, just kids. A car carrying South Los 13 members pulled up. The question came, the deadliest question in Los Angeles. Where you from? The boys didn't even have time to answer. Shots rang out. They died on the spot. Prosecutors later claimed it was retaliation. A pellet gun, flashed by one of the boys days earlier, was enough to seal their fate. All three shooters got life in prison. That was only one chapter. On August 22, 2013, another South Los member, Sergio Jr. Viveros, went hunting. He borrowed a white Yukon, drove into Hoover territory, and opened fire on a group of young men at a corner in Vermont. Trevor Robertson, 21, was shot in the back. He died. Fingerprints, phone records, a fake alibi that crumbled. Viveros was sentenced to 210 years to life. South Los versus Hoover. Latino versus Black, but it wasn't just across racial lines. South Los carried just as much hate for another Sureno set. Gardena, 13th of May, 1990. Normandy Avenue. Gardena members walked the block when a van circled. Once, twice. On the third time, someone flipped it off. That was all it took. South Los member Antonio Ambrez stepped out, asked the question, "Where you from?" Didn't wait for an answer, pulled a revolver, fired 5 shots. Jaime Alvarez, who wasn't even a gang member, just walking with friends, took 3 bullets. He died right there. Police picked up the van minutes later. Ambrez and his driver denied everything, gave fake names, but the cops pulled a trick. Put them in the back of a car, left a recorder running, and in Spanish, the two scrambled to get their story straight. That tape, plus Ambrez's fingerprints on the gun, sealed their fate. Both went to prison. The streets were never just blood and death. They were contradictions. South Los fought Florencia 13, another Sureno giant. But at the same time, they forged ties with the East Coast Crips. A shocking alliance, a violation of the Mexican Mafia's most sacred rule. La M had long pushed violent anti-black orders. They commanded their soldiers to attack African-American gangs. Florencia 13 carried out those orders, hunting East Coast Crips. And yet, South Los, sworn to the same 13, partnered with them. Why? Money, territory, survival. On the streets, pragmatism beats ideology. It was a crack in the foundation, proof that the rules written in prison ink could bend on the outside. But South Los wasn't content to just fight in Los Angeles. Their reach spread. late 1980s. A mother tried to save her sons from the war. She moved them 2 hours south to San Marcos, a quiet town, clean streets. But they brought the gang with them. The brothers, already hardened, already stamped with LA credibility, saw San Marcos as new territory. To the locals, they were legends. San Marcos had its own small youth crews. The biggest? Los Pufos, the Smurfs, kids, disorganized, no prison backing. When the South Los brothers arrived, it wasn't even a contest. The Smurfs folded. Their leaders got jumped in. They became the South Los Baby Locos clique. By the 1990s, South Los in San Marcos had exploded. More than 200 members. They dwarfed the local gang, Barrio San Marcos. Controlled the entire east side. People called it Little TJ, Little South Central. Open-air drug markets, method, cocaine, restaurants doubling as drug spots, Autumn Drive, Chinaberry Street. They weren't visitors, they owned the town. But ownership comes with enemies. Barrio San Marcos hated them. A war ignited, decades long, bloody, June 2006. Police tapped the phone of Cesar Snoop Madano, VSM's leader. They caught the call. Robert Loco Lopez wanted the green light. He believed a South Los member, Julio Menas Ramirez, had stabbed one of his people, and worse rumors said South Los had desecrated a VSM grave. Lopez asked for permission to kill. Madano gave it. 10 days later, Lopez and his crew hunted Ramirez and Jesse Reyes. Caught them. Cameras captured Lopez chasing with a knife. Reyes was stabbed but lived. Ramirez took 8 wounds. The deepest 4.5 inches tore through his lung and artery. He drowned in his own blood. Lopez was convicted. Life in prison. The war didn't end. February 22, 2017. VSM member Eduardo Manuel drove into Autumn Drive. Enemy territory. Witnesses heard him shout, "Fuck you, South L." He pulled a gun. It jammed. He reloaded, fired again, missed. The bullet tore through an apartment wall. Minutes later, police found him at a Jack in the Box. Gunshot residue on his hand gave him away. 88 years to life. And still the war continues. San Marcos wasn't easy for South Los, even behind bars. In San Diego jails, they were outsiders. LA gang on San Diego turf. The local Surenos united against them, outnumbered, hated, beaten. They had to cling to the LA car, the Los Angeles inmate faction, just to survive. They had to fight harder, bleed more, just to earn a spot. So what happened to the 200-deep army that once ruled San Marcos? Time happened. Law enforcement came hard. Mass arrests, deportations, took out founders, gentrification rolled in, bulldozers wiped out their strongholds, new apartments replaced their corners, and their enemies united. Barrio San Marcos joined forces with Brown Pride Locos, Wolfpack, others. All with one mission: drive South Los out. Today, that once massive chapter is a shadow, confined to a few streets, but still there, still recruiting, still fighting. South Los didn't just spread to San Marcos, their name traveled the country. Seattle, a former member named Jose Alva moved north, wanted to start a chapter, but he knew the rules. He couldn't just declare it. He called his cousin, locked up in California prison, for permission. Got authorization, paid taxes back to the shot callers. That's how it works. Every new chapter is sanctioned. Rialto. They planted a set there. Azusa too. One story says a member named Miklo recruited a younger homie who then moved east and opened his own set with the green light. Atlanta. Yes, Atlanta, Georgia. South Los planted a flag in the Deep South, even Pennsylvania. Around 2016, whispers surfaced, a South Los presence in the East Coast shadows. How they got there, no one knows, but they did. That's the Reach, a name born in South LA, whispered in alleys thousands of miles away. South Los 13 is a perfect window into the Sureno world. Violence against rivals, violence against their own, unexpected alliances. Expansion across state lines. They operate in a strange sweet spot. Dangerous enough to be feared, but not so big they draw the federal hammer. Not so big they get RICO'd into extinction. They survive in the middle. Their wars continue. Their enemies remain. The names change. The faces change. But the cycle doesn't. South Lost 13 began as a neighborhood. It became a movement. And now, decades later, it's a reminder. In Southern California, allegiance to the number 13 isn't just a mark. It's a sentence, a choice that echoes from the streets, to the cells, to cities across America. And once you step into that world, there's no clean way out, because out here, the rules aren't written by lawmakers, they're written in blood. And blood never fades.